Hello and welcome along to episode 88 of the All Things Leeds podcast with myself, NkGhTg, and joining me remotely, of course, is as always my podcast co-host Charles Foster. Charles, hello, mate.
Hey, mate, how you doing?
I'm very well. How are you? Happy St. Patrick's Day to you.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to you, mate.
Yeah, are you having a good one? You've got a Guinness there, haven't you? You've had a few already.
I've had a couple already, not a few.
but it'll be a few later on tonight, won't it?
Well, it will, yeah. Once all the recording's done, yeah, there might be a couple more.
Yeah, it's a good excuse to have a Guinness and drink midweek, isn't it? St. Patrick's Day. Hopefully, you're having a good one. Everyone else who celebrates St. Patrick's Day, hope you've all had a fantastic time. Well, we've got a packed show today for you. We'll be reflecting on Leeds United's previous game, which of course was that 0-0 draw at home to Chelsea. We'll also see how the Leeds United under-23s have done recently. We've got a bit of news to get into as well before we look ahead to Leeds United's next game, which is that big one against Fulham away at Craven Cottage on Friday night. So loads coming up here on the All Things Leeds podcast. Well, as always, let's begin the show by reflecting on Leeds United's previous game, which was that goalless draw at home to Chelsea. Now, we went into the game, Charles, having lost 2 games in a row, 5 defeats in 7. So we were in need of a positive result soon, but I don't think anyone saw us getting anything from this game, did you?
No, I wasn't overly optimistic about this. I think me and you, off air, sort of decided this was going to be kind of a free hit of a game, much like the Man City game, the Liverpool game earlier in the season, where if we got something great, if we didn't, then, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, it was just a really solid defensive performance. I thought Chelsea going forward were a bit disjointed. I thought they wasted a couple of chances that they had. I thought we had a couple of chances. I thought all in all, yeah, a draw was probably a fair result. I thought we did play quite well, particularly defensively. We played very well.
Yeah, I'd say a draw was a fair result. It was a big point Leeds United picked up, against a good team. Because as you say, you're going into the game with zero expectation, really. It is a free hit against one of these so-called Big Six clubs. I went into it with no expectations. I was thinking, if we just get through the game unscathed, and we can focus on the more important game against Fulham, then we'll be fine. But no, to go out there, against a team who were undefeated in the last 12 games in all competitions, who had improved massively under new head coach Thomas Tuchel, winning 8 and drawing 3 of his first 11 games in charge. They're a team who were able to have Timo Werner and Olivier Giroud sat on the bench. They had no recognised striker starting the game, but they still had the likes of Ziyech, Pulisic, Havertz and Mount starting, a very good team. And for us to go out there and put in a performance like that, Meslier's keep his 9th clean sheet of the season, despite having a brand new centre-back partnership in front of him with Llorente and Struijk in front of him. It was a very impressive performance from Leeds United, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was, really, really decent, solid. And, we dealt with the opposition very well, which we haven't done in recent games. We kind of counted their threats. And I thought we posed a definite threat of our own. I thought it's not often we get dominated in games, possession wise, but yeah, we did get dominated possession wise. But yeah, we had a few chances here and there, and there weren't, other than that Havertz one where he kind of nipped in between the centre halves and got his shot off. I didn't think they really breached us and made us really, really, worried at any point.
Yeah. I mean, Chelsea when Chelsea were attacking, I wasn't, thinking, oh God, we're going to concede here. I thought it was a very good performance from Leeds United, a very solid display, and the pitch, it didn't look great, but it didn't seem to have too big of an effect on the game, which was good to see. But as I say, the main goal for me was just to get through the game, with no injuries or suspensions heading into the big game against Fulham. But we didn't go through the whole game unscathed. Of course, Patrick Bamford limped off during the first half. He has a slight knock, but could have a chance to play against Fulham. But it was a shame to see Bamford go off, wasn't it? Because it was his 100th appearance for the club, Charles.
Well, not just that, but Gareth Southgate is obviously was in attendance, and he'd be only putting a good show for him because there's rumours about him and even Luke Ayling being called up to the England squad. So you want to be in your best form and playing your best game for that. Yeah, it was unfortunate for Bamford. I do think it's likely that he'll be playing on Friday. Bielsa kind of indicated that in his press conference that he's likely to be fit for the game. So no need for undue concern, really.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully Bamford is fine for Friday's game. But Rodrigo took his place, and it was great to see Rodrigo play as the number 9, as the centre forward, the striker in this game. But he was taken off midway through the second half for Mateusz Klich, which was surprising really at the time. I think most people thought Alioski would be subbed off because he was on a yellow card, and Alioski looked like he was going to get a second yellow as well, but fortunately he didn't. But the reason was because Bielsa thought that he wasn't up to full match fitness, which, it's good that we're being sensible with Rodrigo in his return.
Yeah, I think Bielsa only really wanted to give him 45 minutes, but Bamford's injury obviously made that a bit, made his arrival a bit sooner than Bielsa kind of anticipated. But yeah, I thought Rodrigo was all right. I thought he did an okay job, and nothing kind of spectacular. He had that good chance in the second half, which, in hindsight, was probably our best chance of the game from the corner. But yeah, I thought otherwise his play was okay.
Yeah, I mean, you got to consider that, it's his first game back in the first team. His first few minutes back in the first team for a long time since his injury. So it was good to see Rodrigo back. It does seem like he does have a knock, but hopefully he is fine for the next few games. Of course, no Liam Cooper for this game. He was sick. It was a new centre-back partnership of Llorente and Struijk. And they put in a solid performance. The whole defence didn't they, Charles? Luke Ayling, Llorente, Struijk and Phillips, they were all magnificent in this game.
Yeah, they were all superb. In the middle of the pitch, I thought Llorente was kind of at his best, kind of cutting dangerous balls into the box out and really kind of dominating opposition forwards. And I thought Struijk did his usual thing. He harried the strikers, and he was decent in the air. And I thought he was strong when he needed to be. And I thought Phillips had another very decent game. So when you've got that kind of solid base, the kind of crux of your team, you're gonna force teams out wide, and ended up being what Chelsea did, trying to get the ball to Ziyech, who I thought had a pretty poor game. They were trying to get the ball to Chilwell to overlap. I thought once Helder Costa came on, Chilwell was largely ineffective. I thought Costa did a decent job on him. So yeah, it was just a really decent defensive performance.
Yeah, and you mentioned Helder Costa there. Big credit to him, because when he came on, he really did keep Chilwell quiet, didn't he? He did his defensive duties.
Yeah, it's not just that, but he got us a little bit further forward, and he gave Chilwell a little bit more defending to do. So he wasn't always. He stopped Chilwell being available to do the overlaps and stuff, which kind of lessened the pressure, on the wings.
Yeah, it was of course a goalless draw, but I mean it wasn't boring at all. Both sides had plenty of chances in the game. Havertz had a really good chance early on, but straight away from that we hit on a counter attack. Bamford being played through, he squared it to Roberts for tapping, and we did have a ball in the back of the net, but Bamford was ruled offside, and the goal didn't count. And it was the correct decision, but it really annoys me how they don't put the flag up straight away, because you think, oh yeah, we've scored. It ruins goals now, doesn't it? You're thinking, oh, should I celebrate this goal? Because there could be a chance it could be offside.
I can understand the logic of why they're doing it, because they want, if it's very marginal, when the ball gets played through, I can understand why they'd want to play it out and then have a look back at VAR just in case something happens. Because if they stop the play there and then you look back at it later on VAR, it turns out the player was onside, you'd feel a bit gutted that it wasn't allowed to play on. But at the same time, you've got a lot of unnecessary running. You had that incident with the game that Wolves played where Rui Patricio got injured, because they were playing on, even though it was the linesman knew it was offside. So there's benefits and disadvantages to both ways of doing it, I think.
Yeah, certainly. It's an interesting one, really, and I'm sure it'll be looked at soon. But it's unnecessary running. It kills goal celebrations, and like we saw in the Liverpool Wolves game in midweek. Rui Patricio getting injured, unfortunately. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery, Rui Patricio. But players could get injured from this when it shouldn't even happen because it's offside. So it's an interesting one, really. There was a bit of a hairy moment around the 11th minute mark. Ayling smashing the ball straight into Llorente, and the ball going over Meslier, hitting the bar, and then bouncing back into Messier's hands. That was a very heavy moment. But Tyler Roberts, he had a very good chance a few minutes later, where he cut on him to his right foot. Tried to dink it into that top right-hand corner, didn't he? But Mendy got a fingertip touch save to tip it onto the bar. So yeah, the ball hit the crossbar at both ends in a couple of minutes.
That was probably, if he'd have scored that, that'd have been goal of the season, I reckon. That just the amount of dip on it was ridiculous. It dipped so much in midair. Edouard Mendy is just a superb goalkeeper, which is frustrating because he's at Chelsea. But yeah, he's just a quality goalkeeper. And that was just a really, really good save. And you've got to say, while it is annoying that it's happened against your team, you just got to say fair play. It was a good save, good shot, good save. Move on.
Yeah, and Tyler Roberts, he had a few decent chances in this game, and he had a really good game, didn't he? Of course, came close to scoring, hit the bar, but this was probably Tyler Roberts' best performance in the Leeds shirt for some time. He was excellent in this game.
Yeah, he had some really quality moments, and he seemed to be getting a lot of freedom because while Bamford was on the pitch, a lot of the Chelsea marking was around Bamford, and then when Rodrigo came on, he got marked quite heavily, I thought. But Roberts was picking up a lot of space, in between the lines in the middle of the pitch, and he wasn't always getting picked up, which is a surprise, really, because you'd think that Kante would be the one to sit on Roberts, but it couldn't seem to get hold of him, and I thought he was picking up the ball in a lot of dangerous areas, creating a lot of chances, and get a lot of our kind of best moves of the game kind of went through Roberts.
Yeah, Robert seems to be full of confidence at the moment, and hopefully he keeps up these good performances. Because before the game, there were people thinking, "Oh, let's start Rodrigo and take Tyler Roberts out." But no, he's putting in good performances, and I don't think anyone's going to take Tyler Roberts' position in the next few games. Hopefully he keeps it up. Kai Havertz had a great chance just after. Just a few minutes into the second half, good shot straight at Messier, who tipped it over for a corner, and of course Leeds United had a few chances as well. Rodrigo nodding the ball down to Rafinha, who had the shot on return, and Mendy produced a really strong one-handed save there. And later on in the game, of course, Rodrigo had a free header in the box, and he headed straight at the goalkeeper. But plenty of chances for both sides. But he said early, Charles, a draw was the fair result, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think given the spread of the chances and Chelsea's dominance of the ball, but I think how defensively solid we were. I think the draw was the fair result, and I think a score draw would have been a fairer result, but a draw.
Yeah, I mean it's a point apiece, which is fair, and a goalless draw, which is rare under Bielsa. It's only the fourth 0-0 under Marcelo Bielsa, and the second of the season. So a goalless draw, which is a rarity. But no, it's a solid point for Leeds United, a big point against a top team, and Charles, it's one step closer to the magic 40 points and closer to Premier League survival.
Yeah, that's it's always been the benchmark, and for me, the next game is the perfect chance to get up to 39. I think we really do need to be, closing in on it. And once we're there and we're safe, then no one's actually worrying. But I think we probably are safe, probably, but I want to be definitely safe. And that's the difference.
Yeah, and I think a win over Fulham would certainly ease a lot of pressure and relax a few Leeds United fans. But no, a very positive result to take into that Fulham game now. Who was your man of the match from the Chelsea game?
I'm actually going to go. I was going to go for Tyler Roberts because of his efforts throughout the game, and I'm going to go for a slightly weirder one. I'm going to go for Elland for his ninth clean sheet of the season as a 21-year-old goalkeeper in the Premier League in his debut season. And I thought, every time Chelsea got through, we didn't look phased. I think he made 8 saves in the game. I'm gonna vote him for that because I think he's had a great game.
Yeah, I put out a man of match poll on Twitter after the game, as I always do after either wins or draws. And Calvin Phillips, Tyler Roberts, Diego Llorente, and Elland Messier were in the poll. And Tyler Roberts and Diego Llorente both won it, 32% each on that poll. Calvin Phillips got 20%, and Elland Messier only got 16%. But Messier certainly had a good game. He was my man of the match as well. But no, Diego Llorente, he keeps on improving game by game as well. And to keep a clean sheet, it's a massive positive, Charles.
Yeah, because I think we've struggled a lot defensively this season. I think particularly particularly against this kind of level of opposition, I don't think it can be. It's nothing to be sniffed at to pick up another clean sheet, especially with the constantly changing centre half partnership that we've had all season due to illness and injury. I think it's a real positive.
Yeah, and big credit to Pascal Struijk as well, because he was a doubt before the game, but of course he started, and it was great to see him start as well. I'm really enjoying Pascal Struijk's performances recently. I think he's improving game by game. He's on 21 years old. He's going to be fantastic in a few years. Is Struijk? I'm really enjoying his performances. But a very good point for Leeds United against Chelsea. We of course move on to Friday night's game, the big game away at Fulham, and Charles and I will preview that game later on in the show. The Leeds United under-23s were defeated 2-0 at Crystal Palace at the beginning of the month, ending their 9-game win streak. However, they did bounce back in the following game, winning 2-0 away at Wolves, courtesy of a brace from Rodrigo. And after that, they then beat Newcastle 2-1 at Thorpe Arch, thanks to goals from Joe Gelhardt and Charlie Cresswell. Charles, it's unfortunate that they lost at Crystal Palace, but they did go down to 10 men early on in that game. And so it was always going to be an uphill battle from that. And, I guess as well, all good things must come to an end eventually.
Well, yeah. No winning ones last forever. Not even at the very top level with the very best teams. But yeah, they've had a spectacular season, and they've since bounced back from that. I do think you're right. I think they kind of want to be celebrity referees, and they're kind of appearing in the 23s as well as in regular football. Card happy refs, but yeah, they've obviously bounced back with a couple of wins. It's a bit of a cheat code playing Spain's number 9 in the 23s, but whatever. if Portugal could buy if Wolves can buy Portugal's first team, then we can play Spain's number 9. And yeah, in the Newcastle game, a fairly attritional second half. I thought it was a fairly even game, but they've edged it. They're just that bit closer to being crowned champions of the league.
Yeah, they certainly are. I think it's inevitable that they will win the league now. Of course, touch wood. But no, speaking of things that trickle down from first team into under-23s football, losing in London, the curse is clearly very powerful. But I guess the loss against Crystal Palace is kind of a weight off the shoulders, isn't it? Because they aren't going into games anymore now thinking, well, let's keep this incredible win streak going. They can relax a little bit and, just focus on winning the league and winning promotion to PL2 Division 1.
They know what's at stake, and they know the kind of level of opposition they'll get the chance to play against if they get promoted. So I've got full faith in the mentality of the team, and I think there's some real decent players in there.
Yeah, there certainly is. And it was great that they bounced back from that Crystal Palace defeat, of course, with a win at Wolves, courtesy of a brace from Rodrigo. Good to see him back and scoring, even if it is just for the under-23s. And then to go and beat Newcastle, meaning that they've now beaten every team in the league, which is just fantastic. Robin Koch featured in the Newcastle game. It's good to see Koch back in action.
Yeah, poor choice of words, but yeah, it is. It's good to see him playing again. I'll be looking forward to seeing how he adjusts back to first team football, and see if he's got got it in him to really go back. See if he can make it back into the first team for a start, given how well Llorente and Struijk have been playing, and whether we can see the best of him before the end of the season.
Yeah, there's certainly strong competition now for those centre-back places. But no, good stuff there from Mac Jackson's under-23 side. 4 league games left of the season, and they currently sit top of the league on 46 points, 13 points above second place Stoke, though Stoke do have 2 games in hand. Just 2 more wins needed to seal the title and promotion, and we'll see if they can get one of those wins in their next game, which is away against West Brom on Monday, the 22nd of March. And they should win that one, really. West Brom are bottom of the league on 17 points and have won just 2 and lost 8 of their previous 10 games. So, it should be a win, that one, for the Leeds United 23s, but we'll see if they can win that. And as I say, that game is on Monday, the 22nd of March, and kicks off at 2 p.m. Let's now have a look at some news. And we spoke in the previous episode about the UK government's roadmap out of lockdown, and that if everything goes as planned, then fans will be allowed to return to football matches from the 17th of May with up to 10,000 spectators. So that would mean that fans will be able to attend on the final weekend of the Premier League season, with up to 9,400 Leeds fans being able to go to the Leeds versus West Brom game at Elland Road on the 23rd of May. Well, the Premier League is now planning to shift its 36th and 37th rounds of fixtures back to ensure all clubs welcome 10,000 fans for one game before the end of the season, which is good. I think it's the fair thing to do. I don't think it would be fair on West Brom if they had to come to Elland Road on the final day of the season, having played, the entire season behind closed doors, then potentially needing a point or three to stay up and having to play in front of 10,000 Leeds United fans, although it's not a sellout crowd. First came back, 10,000 fans, Leeds fans are going to make a lot of noise. So it wouldn't have been fair on West Brom, really. So, pushing it back so all teams get to have 10,000 fans in for one game, it does make it fair, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, but I don't think West Brom are going to be within 3 points of safety come the final game of the season. To be honest with you, incredibly unlikely. But I can understand the logic. So, yeah, sure, whatever.
I do think it's good that that I think every team is going to get a chance to welcome 10,000 fans back. It's going to be great experiences for even more fans across the country. Great atmospheres. You'd imagine it'll probably be season ticket holders who get tickets, but I'm sure people will just go down just to experience it. Now, clubs might not have any financial benefit, having just 10,000 fans in the ground. In fact, Leeds United CEO Angus Kinnear has said recently that financially it's not worth doing, logistically it's not worth doing, but emotionally it is worth doing it. He went on to say that he'd be excited to welcome fans back for even just one game and is keen to do it. And it'll be great, wouldn't it, Charles, to let fans in, for just even one game, and there's no guarantee that next season we'll have full capacity. So, I guess it's good, before next season, just have a trial run really and welcome a few fans back.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try and see what they can do with the new measures in place and how they can spread people out and, what the problems are going to be. I think it's a good kind of test run for the following season.
Yeah, it certainly is. And it's all sounding promising. There's now a big light at the end of this very long and dark tunnel. But of course, it can only happen if people, stick to government guidance and, coronavirus cases continue to drop. So, yeah, please, if you're listening and watching this right now, do stick to the guidance so we can get out of this lockdown as soon as possible. Elsewhere, Marcelo Bielsa has surpassed 1,000 days as Leeds United head coach, the first to reach that milestone since Simon Grayson. And boy, those 1,000 days have flown by, haven't they? To think it's almost 3 years since we appointed Bielsa, and so much has happened. Of course, Bielsa winning promotion back to the Premier League for the first time in 16 years. Bielsa's done a fantastic job at Leeds. He's changed the whole club and city really for the better. He's done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, he has. It's certainly been the best time following Leeds. I won't say in my lifetime because we were technically I say not technically, we were in the Champions League in my lifetime. I don't really remember that. So this is probably the best time as Leeds United fan following the club. So I've enjoyed every minute of it. I hope we get another 1,000 days.
Yeah, hopefully we do. But no, Bielsa's been in charge of Leeds for 130 games now, 6-7 wins, 20 draws and 43 losses. He's got a phenomenal record at Leeds United, one of the best managers the club has ever had. And on reaching 1,000 days in charge, Bielsa said, "I go from day to day thinking I'm going to be here for the rest of my life. At the same time, it's a profession that usually has interruptions. I don't think there are many managers in football who have the legitimacy to stay in a job for as long as they like," which is a very nice reading, really. I think a lot of fans interpreted that a bit wrong, though. Looking at that, thinking, Bielsa wants to be here for the rest of his life. I just think he's saying there that he doesn't feel any pressure on him, really. He doesn't feel like he's going to get sacked if things don't go things don't go right. So I think that's what Bielsa's trying to say there.
Yeah, he's just trying to put people at ease, saying that he feels very comfortable in the job and he likes the area. He's previously said he likes Yorkshire as a region. So I think he's just kind of trying to put people at ease in his typical way.
But it certainly sounds promising, and I think it just shows that, how comfortable he is in Leeds, and if the board keeps delivering his promises, he'll remain here. I mean, he's 65 years old now. I mean, can you see him retiring at Leeds? Because he's not going to get sacked, is he? And it'd be great to think that this is going to be Bielsa's last job.
Yeah, that would be the perfect ending. It would sting a bit if he went to another club, particularly if he went to another club in this country. It wouldn't hurt as much as if he went abroad. I think I'd be all right with that.
If he returned to Newell's Old Boys, then I'd be more than okay with that.
Yeah, I mean that'd be absolutely fine because that's his boyhood club. That's his club. He loves them the most. But yeah, I'd love it if he retired with us. That'd be the kind of perfect ending.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think what Bielsa's been saying recently, also shows that 1-year contracts don't mean anything really. I think most managers only sign long-term contracts so they get a big payoff when they're eventually sacked. Bielsa's not about that, is he? Bielsa's just get the 1-year deal, not tie himself down to a long time, and just get the job done and then see what happens.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of obsessed with managers signing 2 or 3 year deals, and managers are rarely in jobs for 3 years. It's quite rare these days for a manager to be in a job a long time. So I think Bielsa just wants to make sure that he's, the owner's happy with him. He's happy with the job, that he doesn't get tied down if he's in a situation he doesn't like. So I think it's just a way of protecting himself, protecting the club, and not giving owners difficult decisions to make. So I can understand why he does it.
Yeah, I think it's it just speaks volumes about the type of person Marcelo Bielsa is, and yeah, I mean, what a guy, what a job he's done in the the 1,000 days he's been in charge at Leeds. I love him. I don't think I've ever loved an old man so much before, and I've never even met. Yeah. I've never even actually spoken words with a guy. He's just an unbelievable person, and yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. And yeah, hopefully, as you say, we get another 1,000 days of Marcelo Bielsa. In other news, it is of course the international break after this weekend, and quite a few Leeds United players have been called up to the international teams. So 27-year-old defender Diego Llorente has been named in Luis Enrique's Spain squad for their upcoming games against Greece, Georgia and Kosovo. 30-year-old midfielder Mateusz Klich has been called up to Poland for their World Cup qualifiers against Hungary, Andorra and England. 22-year-old forward Tyler Roberts has been named in Ryan Giggs' Wales side for their World Cup qualifying fixtures against Belgium, Mexico and Czech Republic. 21-year-old goalkeeper Ilham Meslier has been called up to France's under-21s for their upcoming games. Jan Alioski will play for North Macedonia in their games against Romania, Liechtenstein and Germany. And 20-year-old left-back Niall Huggins has been called up to the Wales under-21 squad for their clash with Republic of Ireland. Charles, it's just awesome, isn't it, to have so many international players at the club?
Well, yeah, it's the kind of the privilege of being in the Premier League. You get these kind of caliber of players, and you get to see them play in these games. But I often, when I'm thinking about internationals, I just want people to come back not injured, in any way. Just because I've got that kind of pessimism that's kind of bred into you when you're a Leeds United fan. So if everyone can just come back having had good games and not been injured, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Have no players come back and who have picked up knocks. I mean, a lot of people have criticised this upcoming international break, haven't they? Saying that it shouldn't happen. There's pretty meaningless games, really. Most of them just friendlies, and it's in the middle of a pandemic. You've got players travelling, out of their club bubbles and into competing against other bubbles, all around the world, travelling during the pandemic, and yeah, players as well, having to play more games in what is already, an incredibly difficult domestic schedule. So a lot of people don't think the international break should be happening. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was a bit, I'm not a big fan of the international break in general taking place, particularly during a pandemic, because you're risking players. You're traveling to foreign countries. There's a potential for for fans to turn up to international games when when you're not supposed to be there. There's potential players could go out, pick up the disease in a different country. So there is a bit of a worry there, and particularly for the friendlies, you think it is kind of unnecessary, and that they aren't needed. You can understand, qualifiers and things like that, and playoffs and stuff, but when it's just a friendly, those games aren't essential. They're not crucial for the season to continue. Whereas league games, Champions League games, qualifiers, those things are kind of essential. Cup games, those for seasons to continue and to finish properly. But yeah, for friendlies and stuff, I don't particularly see the point until things are back to normal.
Yeah, neither do I. I personally don't think an international break right now is the best option. Really, when England is focusing on getting out of lockdown, most of the world is focusing on getting back to normal. So having all these club players coming together and then traveling across Europe, I don't think it's sensible really. So yeah, I don't think it should happen. Of course, you've got the Euros coming up in the summer, and managers need to get the squads together and the squad sorted. But I mean, just do the friendlies, closer to the Euros, really. And they're going to have camps as well anyway, so they have plenty of time to get the squad sorted before Euro 2020, which is happening in 2021. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But Elland Meslier being called up to the France under-21s again, which is good to see. Surely it's only a matter of time, Charles, before Meslier is called up to their first team.
It might be another couple of years. I mean, he is still quite young, and France are not going to put in a goalkeeper that young. They've still got Lloris there, but yeah, it'd be superb to have a full French international in the team. That would be brilliant, because let's be honest, France are probably the best team in the world at the moment and have been for a few years. So to have a player in that team would be brilliant. But yeah, I'm proud of Meslier, and I hope he does eventually make it up to the first team.
Yeah, so do I. It'll just be good to even just see Meslier on the France bench. Have a next World Cup perhaps. I think Meslier, will be called up to the first team soon, and hopefully France #1 in a few years as well. I'm sure he will be. Now Gareth Southgate is set to announce the England squad on Thursday. You'd expect Calvin Phillips to be called up again. He seems to be kind of an England regular now. But the Guardian are reporting that Patrick Bamford and Luke Ayling could be called up to the England squad, which would just be absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I bet when you're getting sold by Bristol City when you're 25 years old for whatever it was, 250 grand or whatever. Oh, sorry, 500,000. Apologies, but you're getting sold for 500,000 when you're 25 from Bristol City to Leeds in the Championship. I bet if someone told you that when you were 29, pushing 30, that you were going to get called up to the England squad, yeah, you'd laugh in the face, to be honest with you, wouldn't you? But it's just a crazy game and a crazy kind of, and this is all thanks to Bielsa. I mean, Phillips wouldn't be anywhere near the England squad. Bamford certainly wouldn't. Ayling wouldn't. There's a lot of players who are the kind of international careers. Meslier wouldn't be. I don't think he'd be. I think he was maybe in the youth setup of France, but maybe he wouldn't have continued if he hadn't been getting regular to first team football. So a lot of these players owe a lot to Bielsa.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, Luke Ayling, he's been superb this season. Definitely, does deserve. I think he does deserve a call up. But whether he's better than the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, that's another question. But if Luke Ayling's called up, then that's just fantastic. And Patrick Bamford as well. Of course, he's having a fantastic season. And you've got Tammy Abraham who's still out. So Bamford, if he's called up, it'll be great to see him play for England.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. It'd be brilliant to see Patrick Bamford play for England, because the amount of stick he's had over his career. But from other clubs, from our club, from us, I mean, we can't shy away from it. We've criticised him on occasion, but he's had a brilliant season, and I think he certainly deserves to be being mentioned in those kind of terms.
Yeah, he absolutely does. But we'll need to wait and see what the England squad is like on Thursday. In other news, Leeds United's first 2 games in April have been selected for TV broadcast. So Leeds United's home game against Sheffield United is now on Saturday, the 3rd of April, and that will kick off at 3 p.m. and will be live on Amazon Prime Video. And Leeds United's trip to the Etihad Stadium to take on Manchester City will now kick off at 12:30 p.m. on Saturday, the 10th of April. And that will be shown live on BT Sports. Plenty of games there to look forward to on TV. And finally, we've had some team news ahead of the Fulham game. And 29-year-old defender and club captain Liam Cooper is still out through illness. 30-year-old forward Rodrigo is a doubt with a fresh muscular problem. But Patrick Bamford looks like he could be fit for Friday's game. He has a knock on his hip, but has a good chance of recovering in time. Charles, it's unfortunate news about Rodrigo, isn't it? You know, it was good having him back, you know, for the last few games, but now it seems like he's going to be out again, which is frustrating for everyone, really.
Yeah, he has had quite a stop-start season, but you know, as long as Bamford's available, I think we'll be okay. It's just a shame we couldn't have had a season where there's, you know, not completely injury-free, because that very rarely happens, but you know, a lot more consistency in the starting 11 I would have preferred. But you know, regardless, we're nearly there, so you can't say it's affected us hugely.
Yeah, and you'd imagine that big injuries and illnesses Rodrigo's had this season has, stopped his flow this season. But it's a good thing that Bamford could be back, because if Bamford and Rodrigo were both out, then we would have been in a bit of a pickle there, wouldn't we?
Yeah, it would have been a little bit of a concern, but you know, it still might happen. Bamford might not make it back. We'll have to see what actually occurs.
So if they are both out, what happens?
Well, I think it'll probably have to be Roberts up front and kind of clicking probably in the 10 role, maybe. You know, Shackleton maybe in the midfield, and then have, you know, Phillips at the base, Harrison and Rafinha on the wings, and then just defence as normal. I think they have to do it like that.
Yeah. I think Roberts would definitely play number 9 if both Bamford and Rodrigo are out for the Fulham game. But it would mean that, you know, we'd see the likes of Gelhardt or Greenwood on the bench, which would be fantastic. But no, hopefully Bamford is back for the Fulham game, and Rodrigo, he is only a doubt, so hopefully he's available. But Liam Cooper is still out, and he'll be a big miss. Of course, he's the club captain. We're always going to miss the captain. But with Bavardi back, Koch back, Juventus and Struijk performing well, we should be fine without him, shouldn't we?
You'd certainly hope so. I mean, it's probably one of our more winnable games of the kind of home stretch of the season. Them and West Brom and Sheffield United, those are the kind of games I'm looking at, thinking those are, not definitely the 3 points, but much more winnable than the Manchester clubs and Liverpool who've still got to play. So these are the kind of games we need to be picking up the points in. So you'd hope it wouldn't, even if they are both out, that it wouldn't affect us. But we'll just have to see what happens with the game.
Yeah, we certainly will. But I think the defence, has proven this season that we can cope with these injuries, and international break coming up, so plenty of time for players to recover and get back in time for the next few games after the Fulham game. But that's for team news ahead of the Fulham game. Let's now look ahead to Leeds United's next game, which sees them take on Fulham away at Craven Cottage on Friday night with kick-off at 8 p.m. Charles, is this a must-win for you?
Not a must-win, but you've got to say, if we were to go down there and lose, it would be very disappointing, because I think they're a poor football team. They are down there for a reason. They've struggled all season. I think they've won 5 games all season so far. So I know it's the kind of the London Hoodoo, but this is kind of the best opportunity we're going to get to kind of put that to bed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we win as well, that's us. I mean, I think we're already up, but if we win, then that's us definitely staying up, you'd think. And if we lose, then those relegation thoughts may start flowing through people's minds again, won't they?
They will. But I don't know what. Maybe I'm just feeling strangely confident today. I can't see us losing. I think I doubt we're going to lose.
Yeah, I can't see us losing, but I mean, it certainly won't be an easy game, though. But we can't sleep on Fulham. been on a good run of form recently. I mean, of course, they did lose 3-0 at home to Manchester City in their last game, but, that's against Manchester City. Manchester City are going to win the league, the best team in the country. So there's no surprise there. But before that, they lost just 2 games in 10, drawing 5 and winning 3, including wins at Everton and Liverpool. So they have been doing well recently at Fulham. And Scott Parker's side, they're in desperate need of points as they sit in the relegation zone. 2 points from safety. They have been picking up results recently. So they're going to be well up for this game, won't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, they'll see it as a same as us, as a kind of winnable game of their kind of last run, and their run's very, very hard. So they'll see this as a crucial one, particularly because they're going to be at home. So yeah, we've got to take them seriously, of course. But I'm feeling strangely confident with regards to the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be a hard team to beat, though, and they do have a few decent players. Their top goal scorer, Bobby Reid, who has 7 goals this season. 23-year-old loanee, Ademola Lookman, who has 4 goals and 3 assists this season. I've been really impressed with that Lookman at Fulham. A few players to watch out for there. Fulham do remain without goalkeeper Marek Rodak, defensive midfielder Kevin McDonald, centre-back Alfie Mawson, and also without midfielder and club captain Tom Kearney. So yeah, they have a few injury concerns to Fulham themselves, but I still don't think it'll be an easy game. But what's the team lineup for you on Friday night? Would you leave it unchanged from the Chelsea game if Bamford's fit?
Yeah, I think I would. I think that's probably going to be our best team. Yeah.
Yeah, so do I. I think I'd leave it unchanged. If Bamford's out and then Taz Roberts goes up front and then either Click or Shackleton in midfield alongside Dallas. I certainly think Alioski and Harrison down the left, they're a great partnership. I think that, they balance out the squad well. So I think that's the best option on the left with, Dallas in midfield, who does a fantastic job. So, if Bamford's fit, which hopefully he is, and then unchanged, but no, if Bamford's out and Rodrigo's out, and then, I think Tyler Roberts can just go up front and then Click or Shackleton in midfield. But, we take a good point heading into the Fulham game. So, hopefully the players are full of confidence. Leeds have a decent record against Fulham as well. Just 2 defeats in the last 10 meetings with 3 wins and 5 draws. A string of 5 draws in a row there. Of course, we won the last 2 meetings, won 3-0 at Elland Road last season and 4-3 at Elland Road earlier on this season. Back in September. That was only the second game of the season as well. So can we win here, Charles? Can Leeds United finally lift the London Hoodoo?
I think we can. I'm going to back us to win. I think we will. Yeah.
I mean, if we don't win here, then we probably will never win another game in London, will we? I mean, this is the best chance we've had in ages to win a game in London.
I think there's just far too many clubs in this league that are from London. I think they all need to be relegated, to be honest with you. I'm just sick of it.
I mean, there's so many teams in London, isn't there? It's ridiculous. But no, I think Leeds United do have a good chance here to end this horrid London curse. Secure the league double over Fulham for the first time since the 1984-85 season. Can we win on Friday? Can we secure a double over them and lift the curse? What's your score prediction?
I'm going to go 2-0 Leeds.
2-0 Leeds. That's another clean sheet, which would be quite nice. I think I'll go the same as you. I can certainly see a draw, to be honest, with this London curse, and Fulham doing decent. I can certainly see a draw, but no, a 2-0 win would be fantastic. But no, hopefully Leeds United can get the win, and we can head into the international break with a high. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 88 of the All Things Leeds podcast. Thank you very much, as always, to Charles for joining me.
Thanks for having me on, Matt.
No worries. Appreciate you joining me as always, mate. And thank you as well to everyone who has watched or listened. We really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed, then why not subscribe or follow the podcast on whatever platform you're on right now. If you have an Apple device, then make sure to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Just search All Things Leeds on there and share the podcast around as well. It really does help us out. Make sure to follow All Things Leeds on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Search All Things Leeds 1 on Twitter and Instagram. Search All Things Leeds on Facebook and on YouTube. make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel where we have over 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing. So yeah, keep up to date with everything. Follow us on all platforms. And we've got some exciting content coming up. Of course, we'll have the usual match previews, pre-match chats, and post-match reactions around surrounding the Fulham game on Friday. And Charles and I will be back with a podcast next week. So until next time, take care, stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.